Good morning, everyone. From beautifully sunny, warm Miami, Florida. My name is Sister Leonor Esnard, and I am an Adrian Dominican. We are coming to you virtually from the Powers Hall in the Adrian Dominican School of Education at Barry University. I taught at Barry for 12 years, and I am now retired, although I still have a meaningful presence here for which I am immensely grateful. The academic environment is very energizing and stimulating for me. Today, I have the distinct honor to warmly welcome Dr. Anita Závodská, Professor of Environmental Sciences at Barry University. Dr. Závodská has a passion for sustainability and has graciously agreed to join us this morning in an educative conversation. Dr. Závodská, I invite you to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Sister. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to be speaking with you, Sister Leonor, and everyone else who's going to be listening to us in replay. Thank you for having me here, for making the time to listen to what I have to say. I think that's one of the important things that we need today, is to have people be willing to listen to what is going on there so we can make a difference. I've been here at Barry since 2002. I spent the first 17 years in the adult program, teaching the adults, something that was really rewarding. And since 2018, I have joined the biology department in the School of Arts and Sciences. And I now teach the younger ones as well. I do keep my presence with the adults in the online program. And I'm also part of the adult portfolio where we give credit for lifelong learning. So I'm a Barry true and true. I've been here over 20 years. I love being here. I love our tight-knit community. I love all of the closeness. And again, thank you again for having me.
Thank you very much, Anita. Now we are ready to proceed with our conversation. My first question is, from your knowledge of and experience with sustainability, which elements do you consider the most critical to address at this point?
So to answer your question, I'm going to get a bit of a background just to say that, as you mentioned, I do teach environmental science by specialty. I'm a trained garbologist, and I also teach climate change courses. Now, in everything that I do, sustainability is interwoven through all of the curriculum. And sustainability, everybody knows what sustainability means, but in the science field, we have several definitions for it. Obviously, the main thing is to continue the systems working in such a way that they continue to work indefinitely, which means leaving enough for the future generations. We also think of sustainability in terms of not putting more waste into the environment, that the environment itself can end up basically breaking down and making do with. And lastly, not using the resources. Now, to put all of those together, I see sustainability as balance. I call it the big B very fondly, because I think it's all about living in balance. I don't think we're living in balance. I think it's very clear to many people who are aware that we're living out of balance with the planet. And we do have just one planet, so I think we need to reassess. So to answer your question, what I think are the most important things, I would say it is a trifold, and all of these are equally important. It is education by far, number one of the three that I mentioned. Then it's the awareness, being educated, being aware, and then also understanding the interconnectedness that we have with the planet and with nature. So I do consider them all equally important, because I don't think we can make any changes without really keeping all three of these at heart. So we definitely need to educate. We need to do this. And I think we need to start this from really early. I think the little kids need to know this. You know, one of the things I've learned when I teach my adults, some of whom are middle-aged folks, who tell me, I wish I had known this 30 years ago. Although, you know, in a way, when you tell it to an adult in middle age, they do take it quite seriously. I don't always get the same reception from the 20-year-olds who are young and they know it all and they're invincible and they don't quite realize the issues that we do face. But I definitely think that keeping all these three in mind and educating, increasing the awareness is the way to go. And again, I think they are all equally important because we cannot make any steps ahead if we don't keep all three of them close to heart.
Thank you very much. Keeping those three elements in mind and saying that they're equally across the board. Still, is there something that would make the greatest impact in your opinion? Something that we could be doing ourselves?
As individuals, I think definitely leading by example. And one of the things I say to my students is, while I believe that I can make an example and make a difference, I will continue to stand in front of them. The day I no longer believe is the day I can no longer be in front of the classroom. But I do believe, even though I'm not 5 feet tall, that I am a powerhouse, that the passion that I feel for this topic and for the planet do come across. And I feel even in a classroom of 15, 20, if I touch one or two who take it with them, it's going to make an impact. So I think as individuals, we definitely need to do everything that we can do because we never know who is watching. And I think, many people end up having that cop-out attitudes that say, I'm just one person, what can I do? It doesn't make a difference. Why should I care about the plastic? But the thing is, you may be one person, but somebody could be watching. When we go out for dinner, we always tell them, don't give us plastic straws. I always bring out my metal straws. Some of the servers just look at me and just brush it off, but then some people go, oh, so you're one of the ones. Some may ask, we may have a conversation. And I really do believe that's how it can be done. So from the grassroots level, those of us who make the difference, who fetch these reusable bags to the supermarket, maybe somebody will see and they will ask about it, they will want to know, then they will change their behavior. And then working our way up. As an institution here, we have our green initiatives where we make changes as well. That certainly makes an impact because it shows that the institution is listening to the individuals. And of course, on the largest scale, and the thing that I wish were happening much, much more is having companies taking a stand. And as much as I love Publix, every time we go to Publix and we see people walking out with the plastic bags, I wish Publix would take a stand and just stop giving the plastic bags. I know the bottom line is the main thing. Okay, they may lose a few customers, but I think in the end, people will come around and they'll bring their own bags. So setting the right example, whether it is the individual or the company, that I think is definitely the way to go.
Oh, thank you so much. I was thinking as you were speaking, how much in harmony your ideas, your thoughts, and our own sustainability enactment of the Adrian Dominican Sisters is aligned with Montessori philosophy, because Montessori from the very beginning was very aware of the interconnection with all beings and the whole idea of the care of the environment, the gardening. And so I feel that I can relate to what you're saying, and that it is a commitment. It's a way of life. It's not just learning a lesson and then it's over. One has to commit, I think, to be able to really believe. You have a passion for it, and I have a passion for Montessori. So I know how important it is, because we can relay or exhibit that passion when we talk with others. And so I thank you for your insights. Which of all of the challenges that I know you said there are some challenges when people just will not listen or will not be engaged. But in your opinion or in your perspective from all your work, when trying to influence people's behaviors or even change behaviors, which education is supposed to do that too. When we're talking about lifestyle, we're talking about people's pocketbooks. And I am wondering how we might, and I know it's balanced, but how might we invite people in a way that is not threatening to look at their lifestyles and to do something about it, if need be?
We have to do it gently.
Yes.
That's how I will begin. There obviously are days where I wake up or I want to just scream from the rooftops. Do it. Believe me, it's the right thing to do because I know what I'm talking about. And then I know that people don't listen to something that we tell them to do. They need to understand. Hence my whole awareness and education and interconnectedness understanding. People really do need to understand. But it's the habits. I think as a society, and in our previous conversation, we spoke about the consumerism. It is the resistance to changing the habits. People are set in their ways, and it is in everything in life, not only the consumerism. We live in a society that's highly consumeristic, that's highly, just geared for convenience. And I think part of that is our personal laziness. All of these single-use plastics that we consume and we use are because we just don't want to take the few minutes it will take to do the right thing. One of the things that we do when we go out for dinner, I have a little bag where I have my own Tupperware container system that I hang on the chair. And when we finish, we take our containers home full of the food. So we don't take their styrofoam. It's a little thing that we do, and it's natural for us. As soon as we go to the restaurant, we take these bags. For some people who wake up, and I think the first thing many people do is grab their cell phones, right? People can train themselves if they only give it a chance. They can put their reusable bags on their doors when they're walking, or to keep them in the car to take them to the store. They can take their reusable mugs to Starbucks for the coffee, then bring them home and wash them. But there's such resistance, which sometimes worries me a little bit, because in the end, it really is the one planet. And I think, one of my biggest nightmares after climate change is plastic, the single-use plastic. And now the single-use plastic that breaks down into microplastic is in our breast milk, in our blood, it's in our brains, it's in our lungs. I mean, it really is a problem. And I wish people weren't so resistant and they were not so disconnected from nature to know that it does not really go to the landfill and go away. It does end up in the environment. It does impact us. So the resistance, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that we really face right now.
I do agree with you, and I'm thinking that this resistance, another element that may play into it is the consumerism, yes, but the competitiveness of this, of the United States in particular, that there is this force that people want to be the best or have everything. Even when you think about our immigrants that come, they want the house, the cars, the watch, the fancy clothes or whatever, because that has been sold as
Yes.
the ideal.
Yes.
Instead of some other,
yes.
like with the spiritual life, it's not fostered in the same way as the physical material life. And in Montessori, you said that we need to start from the beginning, and that's what we do from toddlers and early childhood. We begin to teach them the respect. When we have like a in our classrooms, we might have either gerbils or guinea pigs or any kind of animals, plus all the plants are real, and they learn 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds learn to take care of plants.
Yes.
They're taught and they're shown how the cages have to be cleaned, because we have to respect the animals as well. And so I do think that putting focus on early childhood, starting out, might do some benefit, because if we wait till college, then, I mean, it can still happen, but I think is not as likely to happen.
Definitely so. And, the kids that warm my heart are the ones that are able to do this and be in touch with nature. What breaks my heart is the 2-year-olds who are sitting in the strollers with the sippy cup drinking Coke and being on a cell phone.
Yeah.
There's that total, disconnect from nature. But to your question about the immigrants and what many people come, I myself am an immigrant. Although my background is somewhat different, I do understand everybody would like the car and the house and the watch and so on. The thing is, what people need to understand is they don't need to get the biggest, most gas-guzzling car. In the neighborhood where I live, we're the only household that has sedans. We're the only house that has cars. Nobody else has cars. And they're the most fuel-efficient cars we could have gotten. So I think this is where the education comes from, because we obviously want everybody to have the same opportunities and to have the same stuff. But this is where I wish as a country we would lead a little bit more, because the truth is that what the US does, the world follows. It's been like that. We are a leader in so many ways. You know, when it comes to the environment, our track record is not really the best. We've been the biggest carbon polluter. In terms of per capita numbers, we continue to be the greatest polluter. So what I think we need to do is set a better example for the world, which means changes to the societal values. And I can sit here and talk until the cows come home. That's obviously not an easy thing. But our societal values, some of them certainly do leave a lot to be desired. Yes, because, you know, if we were promoting fuel efficient cars, if we were promoting and building very efficient homes, then the immigrants who come will be buying the houses. They're only emulating what they see us doing.
Okay.
So the blame is with us. And so I think we need to reassess what it is that we're doing. And again, you know, in my wildest dreams, we would have solar panels on every single house. I say this, you know, tongue in cheek, but this state is called the Sunshine State. Why isn't there a solar panel on every single roof?
Okay.
And that's all because of corporate greed and the politicians and the folks in Tallahassee and in Washington who just don't necessarily put their money where their mouths are, where they put the money elsewhere, but the money should be putting the solar panels on our roofs. So I think we need to reassess the social values and see what is really good, because if we do want the future, not only for the children, but for you and me, sister, too, we're still on this planet. You know, I still want to make sure that there's food in the supermarket and there's energy. So we need to reassess. Not an easy task, but we need to reassess.
I was thinking too about how poverty plays into this whole situation and how poor people are unable, they're just trying to survive. So they are unable to do a lot of the things that ordinarily would be able to do, because they live day to day, not just in the United States, but in other countries as well. Right now in Cuba, for example, there's practically no food. Again, like you mentioned, the leaders of the authority are not taking into consideration the common good.
Indeed, indeed. And you're right, it does, whether it's Cuba, whether it's Gaza, whether it's the middle of Africa, the societal issues do play a really big role. But again, here is the thing where here in the US, you know, we can buy a 2-liter bottle of Coke for $1.50 and a bottle of juice costs $4.50. So somebody who's on a shoestring budget, the single parent of 2, is not going to buy the juice. Not the juice in itself is that good. It's a lot of sugar too, but buying healthier food costs more than
Right.
junk. How can that be? I don't understand how that can be. The junk food that causes diabetes and hypertension and obesity should be the expensive thing. And again, this goes back to the lobbyists and the subsidies to the sugar people and that whole economic political system. But it is stuff that we need to think about if there's going to be a change.
And one day I was looking at the prices and I was shocked. And so the woman that was waiting on me, we were talking, and I said to her, I just cannot understand how just regular run-of-the-mill people can afford to buy even the essentials. I'm not even talking about anything special. And she said, I work here and I can't buy here.
Yes.
Which is, you know, it's really sad.
It is. I mean, that I think part of that is just what happened after COVID. And, you know, they say all of this is inflation, but from everything that I read, I think it's very clear that a lot of the prices that have gone up are not coming down because they basically are gouging and they're just making extremely, I would say, obscene profits. You know, my shopping is, sister, when I need something and I'm driving past the supermarket, I stop because I don't want to drive somewhere else and burn gas to go to a different supermarket. As a consumer and as consumers in my house, we really try to frequent the places that I guess appreciate our ways of thinking, not only in terms of social values, but political values. But again, I'm not going to go 10 miles out of the way to burn 4 gallons of gas to go to the supermarket that may have slightly better, I don't know, treatment of their employees when many of them don't. But we do certainly keep all of that in mind. You know, we try to frequent local stores, local restaurants, as opposed to the chains, to give the money to our own communities and keep it within there and so on. These are the things I wish people would think about. You know, I don't live in a cave. I don't shower with cold water. I'm not giving up anything. I have a wonderful life. But I think more people need to stop and think and be thankful of what we have, because I don't think we're thankful anymore. We line up on Thanksgiving Day to buy more stuff. I'm not sure that necessarily brings happiness. That's not happiness for me, to line up on Thanksgiving and just look at what we have and be happy for what we have, because there's so many people in the world who don't even have a quart of what we have. And then we turn around and even complain about it. So thankfulness, I think, is missing in our society quite a bit as well.
Yeah, Dr. Závodská, I'm thinking that gratitude, gratefulness is a wonderful feeling, and that we have like a responsibility to model that, to express gratitude to people, anyone, even someone that holds the door for you, because that is something else that can be modeled. If you, your wildest dream or your most wonderful dream about this issue, if you could make it happen, how would you envision that? How would you envision our society in a balanced way, in your dreams, like if it had already happened, what would it look like?
Definitely more social interaction. I love people. I think the older I'm getting, though, I'm getting a little disheartened because of these cell phones. I'm someone who always says good morning, who always says thank you. It takes 10 seconds. And as you said, I think it's very important. I think we're lacking that in society today, and that's reflecting how we treat each other. There's total lack of empathy. People just don't care because they don't take the few seconds to look at one another, listen to one another. I am myself, I'm half Czech and half Guyanese. I grew up in a household where I had parents from 2 different continents. I never looked at my parents any differently. You know, there's so much more that they had in common than they had not in common, which I think is the same for all of us in this world. We love our dear ones. We love our friends. We want the best of our people. If we could look at what we have in common as opposed to the differences that we have, I think the world would be a much better place just overall. And I think by extension, if we treated each other well, we would treat the planet well too.
Oh, yes. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us, Dr. Závodská, at this point?
I don't think there's really anything else I can share, because I know that the sisters who are going to listen to us all share the same values that we have. So I assume that people will have been listening to our recording, smiling, knowing that I'm saying that I think what we all believe in and what we hope for the future. And I think we just all need to continue what we do and lead by example, because that really is the only way to do it from here.
That's true. Well, Dr. Závodská, please accept our sincere and deep expression of gratitude for your time and for your helpful insights. My best wishes for continued success in your sustainability projects at Barry University and everywhere else you might go. You're a person to be admired and respected, and I have enjoyed getting to know you these last few months, and I'm so grateful for your willingness to take time to share with us. And in the name of the Adrian Dominican Sisters and Associates, I thank you.
Thank you, Sister Soman. It really indeed too has been a pleasure to have met you, to have spoken to you. Thank you, all the sisters, for listening to us. And I do hope I'm in Adrian at some point very, very soon, so I can see some of you again. So, Sister Leonor, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for giving me the time to talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. God bless you.